Hello, 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 Shadowcat back! I've been looking forward to this one. Okay, so I barely slept at all last night because I am excited to get this one started. We are going to be building a module for Starjammer, and we're going to be doing it in a Star Trek theme. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this. Okay, so let me just make sure that everything is working here. Am I actually broadcasting to anybody? Maybe. Looks like it's going through at least. It says my current bitrate is low. Of course my current bitrate is low. I live out in the middle of nowhere, so bitrate is not a thing that I have. That's okay though, we're gonna make it work. So I'm gonna give people just a few more minutes to kind of filter in while I get the rest of this set up. I know that notifications went out, or at least I'm assuming notifications went out. I sent out my own notifications, so maybe people will show up. If you didn't get a notification, either from YouTube or from me, well, if you didn't get one from YouTube, it's because YouTube hates me. And, you know, fair enough. If YouTube hates me, I don't care. And if you didn't get one from me, well, it's because you're not in the Discord server. And you should get in the Discord server. And just to be safe, let me go ahead and update that. Hello, Blizz. Good to have you here. Let's see. The cat's on the table. Discord server. Invite. Let me get a brand new link because I think they expire after a week. And I will just slap this into the description. Save that. So that should be a brand new link in the description. And if you aren't already a part of the Discord server, go join the server. It's worth it. It's not too busy right now, but it will be soon. Someday. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, now to get back to where I was. No, actually, I'm right where I wanted to be. I take it back. Okay. Now, what are we doing today? Like I said, we're going to be building a module for Star Trek. Because I had some people say that if we ever did a Starjammer game, Star Trek would be of interest. So that's what we're going to work on. And honestly, I have been thinking about it all week since then. I have a lot of stuff already worked out in my head. A lot of stuff that's going to have to get done. So, just starting off, first thing we're going to need is this painting needs a canvas. Where's my OBS? There it is. And up. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Maybe a little small. That looks a little bit better. Okay. So this is where we're going to build it. Now, what do we need if we're going to do a Starjammer module? Well, first things first. Every person that is going to be a part of Starjammer is going to need a character. And if you need a character, the first thing you're going to pick is going to be your race. So we're going to need some races. Part of this is going to be just reflavoring things. Part of this is going to be kind of creating our own, if you catch my meaning. We'll be building our own kind of thing. This could take some time. Oh, and as a point of reference, we will be using the Star Trek Online Wiki. So let me just go ahead and pull this up. we will be using the Starjammer SRD, the Star Trek Online Wiki. And by the way, music today is provided by Lo-Fi Hip Hop Mix, which is supposed to be copyright-free music. So if I get a copyright strike on this stream, I'm going after someone. Because it says right in the title of it, copyright-free. That means leave me alone. Hello, Tux. Good to have you here. By the way, let me know if the music is in fact too loud. Because the music is already turned down about halfway, but if it needs to go quieter, it can. Or if you don't like it, I can turn it off entirely, but, you know, I kind of figured it'd be nice to have something on in the background while we're doing this, right? I mean, everyone likes background music. Okay. So, as I pointed out, we will be using the Starjammer SRD, which I have shown before. We will also be using... well, not that. Maybe it is that, actually. We will also be using this. This is the Star Trek Online Wiki. Since a lot of the heavy lifting has been done for us in terms of stats and balancing and things like that, this should work well. This will give us a nice template to work from. The first thing we're going to have to look at is going to be races. Now, where are those going to be? Factions are obvious. Playerships, careers, skills. Somewhere in here is going to be races. Right? Duty officers, admiralty, item upgrades. Come on. This should be right up front. I'm feeling more blind than I usually am. Either that's just a bad wiki. I don't really use this so much, even though I have played a lot of Star Trek Online. I've never really looked at this a whole lot. Alright, how about this? Just, let's go factions. Alright, so not necessarily knowing what my people are going to be playing. Here we go, races. Here we go. Alright. So, here's our races. Andorian, Bajoran, Benzite, Betazoid, Bolian, Cation, Cardassian, Ferengi, Human, Klingon, Liberated Borg, Pokled, Rigelian, Saurian, Talaxian, Tellarite, Trill, Joined Trill, Vulcans, and just general aliens. Alright, so we're going to start making a list. So we're going to come back here. And we're going to do races. So we need because I know that there are a ton of races in Star Trek. I could not even begin to scratch the surface on all of them. These are the playable races in the game, which means it's a good, already chipped down list for us to work from. So we've got Andorian, Bajoran, and Benzite. Then we've got Betazoid, Bolian, and Cation. After that, Cardassian, Ferengi, Human. Did I not center everything on this? Center everything. I like it centered. Okay, after human. Klingon, liberated Borg, and Pokled. After that, we've got Rigelian, Saurian, and Talaxian. Well, it's not left justified anymore now, is it, Tux? What was that? Right, Rigelian, Saurian. And Talaxian. And we've got Tellarite and both kinds of Trill. Then there's Vulcans and just generic aliens. So, Vulcan and alien. Now, of course, there's also going to be the standard gamut of Starjammer races to choose from, if you so wanted to, and there's a lot of them. Alien, I'm not sure how we make that work, because there isn't really, at least I don't think there is, a build-a-race inside of Starjammer. However, that doesn't mean that I couldn't come up with one on the fly if I needed to. Gorn are exclusively a KDF race, which is why they're not on here right now. That doesn't mean that we couldn't do Gorn. It's just Gorn are not part of the Federation. Like, there's some crossover between with the Klingons. There are some Klingons who serve in Starfleet, but there's no Gorn. Just like there's no, well, okay. Actually, no, there's no Orions either if you go to Starfleet. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I feel like this music is really loud. There we go. Yeah, so there's no Gorn, there's no Orions, what else? I forget. Anyway, there's just some that aren't part of the Federation. Mostly because, canonically, they won't play by the Federation rules. Like, the Orions are slavers. They're pirates. They engage in piracy against pretty much any ship that is not directly aligned with themselves. They will capture people, sell them into slavery. They will maintain crews of slaves on their own ships. And the Federation just won't tolerate it. So the Orions are just like, oh, not doing that. So, yeah, that does not mean that we couldn't do it, though. I mean, this is our game. We can do whatever we want. But for this period right now, we're not going to go through and we're not going to make a Gorn. Maybe next time. I mean, this is going to be generally a Star Trek module, but we can come back to it and make another module for the KDF and another module for like the Cardassian faction or for the Dominion, things like that. Those would be much smaller additions, though. We're going to do the bulk of the heavy lifting right now. Alright, so what do we have right now? Well, humans are easy. Humans are easy. Let's see. Star Trek? Starjammer. Alright. So, I list it this way because some of these will have direct crossover. For example, humans are humans. Doesn't really matter where you go. Humans are humans. Now, that one's easy, obviously. Liberated Borg. I feel like Liberated Borg should not be a race. It should instead be a template. So I think that's what I'm going to put down here. This should be a template that we can apply to any other race. Which means that if you were making a character, you would become this character first, and then we would apply Liberated Borg to it. Which means that the template will have to be both a positive and a negative, because it'll have to have some kind of trade-off to make it to where it'll give you bonuses, good bonuses, but you don't want to have it just be a blanket benefit, otherwise everybody would play Liberated Borg. Liberated Borg are not going to be constructs. The reason being, they're still squishy. They can be killed. Otherwise, we would just use the android for that. But Borg aren't androids. They're a combination of both. They're cybernetic. So we can't just take that path and take the easy way out. It's not available. So, here's what we gonna do. First off, we have Starjammer races. The first thing that we're going to pick... Well, we're just going to go through these and see what we can do. The first thing we have are Lashuntas. These are a Starjammer race. Physical description of the Lashunta. They are telepathic humanoids who have evolved adaptive genetics that allow children to develop into one of two subspecies, depending on the stresses in which they endure at puberty. Either the tall, intellectual, and adaptable Demea, who make up most of their race's political leaders and ambassadors, or the short, burly, headstrong Korasha, who excel as warriors and explorers. Both feature short forehead antennae that focus their natural telepathy, as well as colorful swirls and raised markings on their faces unique to each individual. Due to natural pheromones and Lashunta's almost perfect physical symmetry, most humanoid races find Lashunta of both subspecies subconsciously and sometimes unnervingly attractive. Both clades of the species bear the same genetics, allowing them to intermarry and have children. While all Lashunta children inherit complexions and certain distinguishing features from their parents, their subspecies is not one of them. Through psychic ritual and force of will techniques applied at puberty, modern Lashunta have mastered the ability to determine what subspecies a child will grow into, activating certain epigenetics and shutting down others. Let's see, while some Lashunta city-states attempt to steer children in a particular direction, such as via government-run aptitude tests, most Lashunta believe passionately in a child's right to choose. In ancient Lashunta history, their starkly divided gender roles led to subspecies almost universally correlated with gender. But Lashunta culture has grown more egalitarian. Gender balance between the two subspecies has become roughly equal. Okay, I think what we have here is a good template for Vulcans. It'll need some tweaks though, because Vulcans don't have antennae. Andorians do. But still, let's see, Homeworld, let's see, magical portals, blah, 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 blah. We're going to have to do away with almost the entire magical portion of the Starjammer game to work this into Star Trek, because Star Trek wants to be a little bit harder. Star Trek has always been on the harder side of sci-fi, even now, where it's like almost completely fanciful. It still at least cares enough to put up the facade of being a harder sci-fi. I would almost say that perhaps we should go more the Expanse route, but I haven't seen the Expanse yet, so I don't know anything about it. I just know that it exists, and it's supposed to be very good, and it's very hard when it comes to its sci-fi. It's on my list of things to watch. I'll get around to it someday. Okay, so what do we have here? So the racial traits for a Lashunta, specifically the Demaya, Because Vulcans are going to be clever and well-spoken. So +2 intelligence at character creation, but somewhat delicate. Now that's a bit of a problem. That's a bit of a problem because Vulcans are anything but delicate. Vulcans are tough as hell. But we can make this work because what are Vulcans not? They are not charismatic. Vulcans are logical to a fault. And so we can make that work. So what we're gonna do is, how can I make this work? I'm gonna go ahead and move this up here like that. And I think that I'll try and shrink this a bit. Ooh, can I not do that? Okay. How about this? Can I just keep moving it up? I actually can keep moving it up. Okay. So, you can only see half of it now, unfortunately. But I can do this. So there we go. Now we can see both. Right? Is that good? Can everybody see what we're doing? All, 2 people here? Yeah, all 2 people here. Okay. It's going to have to be good enough. Alright, so we're going to start with our Vulcans. And a Vulcan is going to be a Demaya Lashunta. Now, underneath Demaya Lashunta, we're going to go ahead with, let's see, plus intelligence, but we're going to go with minus charisma. And that should be good. After that, obviously, I would normally put no magic here, but since it's going to be kind of an overall arcing thing for Star Trek, just no magic, we'll skip that. Now, interestingly, is there an alternate racial trait that gets rid of the magic? Let's see. Physically resistant would be good. However, we cannot get rid of limited telepathy because we need that. Yeah, so we got to have that. However, they do naturally come with student, which gives them a +2 racial bonus to any 2 skills of their choice. That would be good. However, rugged also gives them the toughness feat as a bonus feat. That replaces student. What I think I'll end up doing, what I think I'm going to do, is since we're going to get rid of Lashunta magic, because they can't have it, I think we'll ditch the Lashunta magic, and we will go ahead and give them rugged for free. And that should make a pretty good Vulcan. I also just noticed up here it says all Lashunta get a +2 charisma at character creation, which means that technically speaking, this actually balances out. So they're only going to get the plus intelligence. And that'll be a fair trade-off. They're only getting the 1 bonus. And that's fine. So instead, we will have limited telepathy. with the stipulation that it has to be contact. Because the Vulcan cannot read your mind from across the room. They have to do the Vulcan mind meld. And that'll be fine there. We're also going to keep student, physically resistant, and rugged. Or wait, no, we're not keeping physically resistant, because that replaces telepathy. So they're just going to get the rugged, actually. And so there we go. Everything else can basically stay the same. Okay, good. Yeah, Mind Forward. Hunter Legacy. We're not going to really bother with these, I don't think. Yeah, we're not going to bother with these. I think we've got a good one. I think we've got a pretty good Vulcan right here. Hello, JP. Glad you could make it. So yeah, that's going to be our Vulcan. And I'm just going to put you down there. We'll go ahead, we'll put a box around this. And there we go. It's that easy. Don't have to do a whole lot of work on that one. So next, for the Starjammer races. Well, actually first, before we do that, are there any other telepath races? I don't think there are, but there might be. So let's take a look again. Andorian. They have higher perception, exploit damage. That's not really going to be relevant. Resistant to flanking damage. Bonus damage for each point of missing health. None of those are going to be terribly useful. So we might have to build that one from the ground up. What I do know about Andorians is that Andorians, or at least their home planet of Andoria, is a snowball. So they are very, very well adapted to the cold. To the point where they actually almost kind of struggle in a normal, or what we would consider a normal environment. So we'll have to find a race that suits that. Let's see. Bajorans, +2 healing to shields and hit points. Not really. +10% bonus healing used on you. Regeneration. We could try to find a race that regenerates. I mean, it's not much regeneration, but if we find one that has advanced healing, then that could be good. Benzite. Resistant to physical damage. We need a tough race for them. Resistant to toxic and radiation damage. That will give us a good baseline to go from. And resistant to energy damage. But this resisting toxic and radiation, I'm sure we can find someone who does that. Betazoid. Betazoids are... Actually, if I recall, Betazoids are the empath race. They're not telepathic to the point of a Vulcan. They can instead just feel emotions and intentions. I feel like the Lashunta is a little bit too powerful for that, unless I severely find a way to kick down the, the telepathy. But I think what would be even better, would be to take a Betazoid and give them the ability to do a free sense motive check within a certain radius. Like, if a Betazoid walks in the same room with a person, they can just instantly sense motive on that person. I think that's the better way to go. Bolians. Chance for a toxic damage over time against attackers who bite you? Really? So what, Bolians are poisonous? Apparently Bolians are poisonous. Troy is empathic, but I don't think it's because she's half human. I think it's because she is Betazoid. I wonder if it'll tell me more about them. Let's see. Physical features. They look like humans. Except for the iris, which is completely black. Okay. And significant differences in the brain, including an additional entire lobe, which is responsible for their telepathy. Maybe you're right about that one, actually. Betazoids have naturally strong telepathic abilities capable of sensing the emotions and thoughts of others, with the exception of some races such as the Ferengi and Changelings. Some Betazoids do go above and below typical abilities that most Betazoids possess. Some are able to directly manipulate other people's minds, and some can barely read emotions of others. Due to their telepathic abilities, Betazoid society tends to revolve around openness and honesty. Betazoid wedding ceremonies, participants are requested to be completely nude. That is not useful at all. However, apparently they are telepathic. Never mind. We're going back to the Lashunta. Okay then. Never mind. I was wrong. So then what works? It appears that they might actually be more telepathic than Vulcans are. JP says they have the highest psi rating in the Fed. Maybe they do. I was unaware of that. I just learned me a thing. Okay. Some Lashuntas are geared primarily towards mental pursuits. Called mind-forward, such individuals lack common Lashunta physical adjustments. A mind-forward Demaya's ability adjustments are intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, with a -4 to constitution. That's a hefty hit on constitution. However, yes, and JP pointed out they can use telepathy as a weapon. Vulcans are weaker because they require touch. Not only do they require touch, but I've never really seen a Vulcan use it as a weapon. I mean, in the original series, specifically, not the motion picture, but the second and third movies, more so in the third because when you got to see it, you saw that Spock was able to compel McCoy, but it wasn't mind control. I mean, they said something about basically he was carrying Spock's mind, and so Spock was in there, but he wasn't mind controlling McCoy. I also seem to remember that in Voyager, Tuvok had gone through and used the mind meld to basically put people down and keep them down, but he wasn't really hurting them. So I don't know about calling it a weapon. I think that Vulcan telepathy might just be in general weaker. Or, I mean, if you don't like hearing it that way, that maybe the Betazoids are just that much stronger. Let's see. A mind-forward Karasha's adjustments are +2 intelligence, +2 charisma, -2 constitution. Let's see. He forcibly pulled into from Mind of Conspirators? I don't understand what you're talking about. Are we talking about Tuvok? I don't know what we're talking about. You'll have to educate me a bit further on that one. I'm not the expert here. God, that looks good. It really does. I'm very tempted to call the, I'm very tempted to call the Betazoids just a mind-forward Demaya and call it a day. With obviously no magic. It also says that... Okay, so they have limited telepathy, which means they can communicate with any creature within 30 feet of them. That does beg the question of what is full telepathy? What is full telepathy in Starjammer? Let me check this out. Let's see. Starjammer. Let's see. That's telepathy as a spell. Extended telepathy. So extended telepathy is a feat that requires you to have limited telepathy to begin with. It increases the range of your limited telepathy by 30 feet, meaning that you would go from 30 to 60 feet. Let's see. There's also some special stuff on here. So, what if I look this up? Let's see. If you have the major psychic power feat, you also have extended telepathy, you can try to communicate telepathically with creatures you don't share a common language with. What is the major psychic power feat? Let's see. Select one of the following second-level spells, either Augury or Status. You can cast them once per day as a spell-like ability using your character level. Now we're getting into magic. Yeah, I feel like I'm not going to bother with that. I mean, we could give them extended telepathy by default. But that's about the best option I can think of. And JP says Spock used a mind meld to force information about the Kittimer conspiracy from Valeris in Star Trek VI. Okay, it's been a long time since I've seen Star Trek VI. Actually, it's been a long time since I've seen all of them except for the motion picture, because I do love the motion picture. However, you say it was painful? I'm gonna believe you on that one. So, maybe a little bit stronger than what I was expecting, but probably not enough to really use it as a weapon normally. But I'm going to assume that when you say that the Betazoids can use it as a weapon, you mean that they could actually use it in combat. Like a Betazoid soldier with a rifle could be firing from cover and mentally assaulting a target. Maybe even disabling a target while using their rifle just as, suppressing fire. I mean, that's what I have to assume there. And I don't think that Starjammer quite has anything like that. There is, of course, this... I'm going to look up this augury skill just because I'm curious about it. So, under magic. Wait, no, that's not what I want. Actually, it might have been. No, right here. Spell list. Augury. Can we find it? Augury. Okay. Augury... casting augury can tell whether a particular action will bring good or bad results for you immediately. Okay, so this is just foresight. Nope, that's out. That's right out. Betazoids may be very telepathic, but I don't think that they can see the future. So we're not going to really bother with that. We're going to go ahead and just assume that they're going to be mind-forward Demayas. However, I'm not going to give them rugged. They're just going to be mind forward, and they're going to have student. That'll be it. Alright, so that's Bajoran. Mind forward Damaya Lashunta. And they will have student, and that will be it. Come on. What do you mean I can't use this function with multiple selections? It's a cut and paste! You're just really upset that I'm trying to cut and paste one extra cell. Alright, so put a boxer on this one. You can't see it right now because it's behind the browser. Oh, actually you can see it. I take it back. Never mind. Alright, what do we have now for other races? Do we have any other telepaths while we're here? So, let's see. Betazoids, telepathic, I know that much. Bolians are poisonous. Cations, I already have a race for them because my character's a Cation. That one's super easy. Cardassians. So space bonus, recalled tactics. Sure, I guess. Ground, they have a bonus resistance to placate, confuse, hold, and stun. Does that just mean that they're like mentally strong? Because I mean they kind of are. History, culture, physical appearance. Yeah, I don't actually know what really makes Cardassians all that special. I don't know. We'll come back to that. We got time. We got time. And if we have to do this next week, we can work on this next week too. I am in this for the long haul. Ferengi. Ferengi are all about the merchant life, and I'm sure there's got to be at least one race that's all about that merchant life. However, resistant to toxic and radiation. Very useful. Humans are already done. Klingons. So Klingons, interestingly, they get additional physical damage and physical resistance. They get basically they're just, you know, combat machines. And fortunately, I actually kind of have a race for that. We have the Vesk. Cardassians are known for architecture, literature, and being shipwrights. So they're crafty people. I'm sure I can find something for crafty people. Oh, looks like Blizz is out of here. If you haven't already, make sure you go subscribe to Blizz's channel too. She does good stuff, and we'll see you later, Blizz. Okay, physical description of the Vesk. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a Gorn, because otherwise these guys would basically be carbon copies of the Gorn, I think. Lizard-like Vesk stand close to 7 feet tall, thick with muscle, and covered in tough, scaly skin. Though they've long adapted technological weapons, they retain the thick claws and teeth of natural predators and enjoy using them to intimidate softer races. In addition, they also have long, powerful tails. While these are primarily used for balance, some Vesk martial arts incorporate formidable tail slaps. Small horn spikes dot the skulls of both sexes and protrude from their lower jaws and bony beards that sometimes extend down their spines to their tails. We don't have any Zenkethi yet. We're just doing these Federation races to start off with, but we can look at it later. You want to look at Zenkethi? Blizz wants to look at Gorn. We'll figure it out. So obviously Klingons are not scaly, but I think we can make this work. Because we can just take the skin off and use the stats. So the ability adjustments for the Vesk, +2 strength, +2 constitution, -2 intelligence. As an honor before reason species, I'm perfectly okay with that. Because I think we can all agree, Klingons do stupid shit. They really do. So I think we're going to leave that alone. Now, low gravity. Several groups of... okay, wait, these are alternate race traits. What are the general race traits? Oh, okay, I see. These change the actual states, or stats. These are alternate ability adjustments. These are the racial traits. Got it. Low gravity, Venom Thought, War Blood. Some Vest bloodlines are renowned for their brutal warriors, and several of these have a variant genetic build, including thicker muscles, longer spikes, and a ridge of spines that runs along the tail. They're more aggressive, and have a tendency to see everything as a conflict, makes it difficult for them to inspire confidence and trust in others. A Warblood Vest's ability score adjustments are plus strength, plus dexterity, and minus charisma. Here's a problem with that. Klingons are dumb as shit. But Klingons have great charisma. I mean, Klingons are downright inspiring sometimes. It's usually inspiring a suicide run. But they are inspiring. Klingons don't run together because necessarily they have anything to gain from it. They run together because they're all together. I think penalizing a Klingon's charisma is just wrong. So I don't think we can use Warblood. I think we've got to go with the base adjustments. Which means no bonus to dexterity, but a bonus to constitution. And I think that's actually kind of fair, too. Klingons I've never really seen as being very dexterous, but what do Klingons do? They don't die. You can beat the ever-living hell out of a Klingon. They don't die. And Klingons would require Barbarian if this was fantasy. We don't have Barbarians. But we have something close. I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you in a minute. I still don't know what I'm doing for classes. I don't think that we really need any special classes for this module. Because, at least in Star Trek Online, you have your choices of being a tactical officer, an engineer, or a science officer. And these fall mostly into skills, not necessarily your class. Now, it is true, there is a mechanic who is just an engineer. But, you know what? We'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay. So, I think that for Klingon, we're going to go Vesk. Just Vesk. And I need to move all this down. Okay. So, racial traits. Armor Savant. They make use of armor in a way that uniquely complements their sturdy physiology. When wearing armor, they gain a +1 racial bonus to AC. When they're wearing heavy armor, their check penalty is 1 less. I'm good with that. Armor Savant. Fearless. They receive a +2 racial bonus to saving throws against fear effects. Done. Klingons are fearless. Low light vision. I have seen nothing to indicate that Klingons have low light vision. Now, their world is a little bit darker than usual. At least in every depiction that I've seen, but that has never given me the idea that their vision is any better than your normal human's vision. I mean, if you can give me an example and prove me wrong, then I might. But as it stands now, I'm not doing it. And natural weapons? They don't have natural weapons. Klingons don't have natural weapons. They can bite you, but so can anyone else. Do Klingons have a scent ability? I don't recall that. I don't recall them having a scent ability any better than the humans. Let's see. Alternate racial traits. Expanded lung capacity. Yeah, I don't remember that. I mean, can you give me an example of Klingons having scent? Because otherwise, I don't know. I need something to go on here. Let's see. Expanded lung capacity. I don't think that they would really have that. Observant. Some Vesk watch their environment and creatures around them for signs of danger. Let's see. Vesk with this racial trait can select either perception or sense motive. Now, if you really think they have scent, this might be it, but this replaces fearless. Prehensile tail. Klingons don't have tails. Vesk venom. Klingons don't have venom. I think. They might think they do. So these are all the traits that they get. Oh, let's see. Or no, wait, hold on. Wait, you got alternate racial traits listed here twice. Did I ever mention that this SRD is kind of, So, use scenting for a hunt. DS9 episode, Worf teaches a boy to hunt by smelling a boar on the wind. I still think it's a little iffy. But you know what? I tell you what I'm going to do. Since they're not getting low light vision and they're not getting natural weapons, I may give them observant. And if you want to call it scent, you can call it scent. I'm just going to call it observant. And that's fair, because I do think that Klingons tend to be very observant. I mean, Klingons as warriors tend to be on the lookout for threats anyway, and they tend to notice things before most other people. As for everything else, I think we're good. I think we got ourselves a pretty good Klingon there. What do you think? Good Klingon? I'm going to call it a good Klingon. So there we go. That's an easy one. Now, coming back to Starfleet. So, Liberated Borg, we already agreed, is going to be a template, not a race. We'll be able to apply it to other things. Pakled. I don't even know what a Pakled is. Additional critical chance, stun resistance, confuse resistance, placate resistance. So they're also mentally strong. Rigelian Spirit Walk ability? I don't even know what that means. Let's see. They have an overall higher constitution with more hit points. They regenerate. Interesting. Let's see. Saurians. They resist plasma, toxic, fire. They just kind of resist everything. They must come from a particularly harsh environment. We can use that. Talaxians. I feel like I should just, you know, make the Talaxian race a casket. Because anyone who plays a Talaxian, I'm gonna kill it. That may be harsh, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm just gonna kill it. Tellarites. Resist physical and kinetic damage. Yeah, you're right. Talaxians would technically be scavengers. I'm sure we can find a scavenger race somewhere. Let's see, Tellarites are very physically tough. 50% chance for 20% chance of all damage. Receiving a crit. And click Stubborn to free yourself from Confuse and Placate. So they're just tough. Trills. Let's see. Radiation resistance, toxic resistance. Again, must come from a toxic world. And if they are a joined Trill... I think they get skill bonuses, actually. So we'll have to look for that. Oh, wait. Paclids are scavengers. Talaxians are traders. I've never actually seen a Paclid. I guess they're, like, kind of new for Discovery or old from Next Generation. Either way, I don't remember them. We already did Vulcans, and aliens are kind of a nothing. Okay, so we've seen all of these. Why don't we go back and look at what we've got and try to match it up from here? Go back. There we go. Alright, androids. Not going to worry about that right now. Lashuntas, we did. Humans, no. Shirans are insect people. They're like ants. The big thing about Shirans is that they have kind of a hive mind. The only people that I know of that have a hive mind are the Borg. So I don't know how useful this will be. So racial traits. They have blind sense. So they can sense vibrations in the ground and air out to 30 feet. They ignore the stealth bonuses and any form of visual camouflage. Yeah, I don't think that any of them are going to have blind sense. Communalism. They're used to working as part of a team once per day. As long as an ally is within 10 feet, they can roll a single attack roll or skill check twice and take the higher result. That's cool, but I don't see who that's going to be useful for. Cultural fascination. So, Shirans are eager to learn about new cultures and societies. They get a +2 racial bonus to culture and diplomacy checks. That could probably apply to a few of them. But, I mean, I can't pick a race based on one thing. They have limited telepathy. They also have cultural assimilation. Let's see. Many Shiran learn ideas voraciously, making them skilled at blending into other cultures, which gives them another bonus. Or, no, a +2 bonus to culture and disguise rather than culture and diplomacy. Hive defense? No, not really. Individual obsession? Yeah, I just don't see the Shiran as being useful for anything. I don't think we can use them. Kasathas. We might be able to use these guys, but they're a little bit weird. So the thing about Kasathas is when we look at the physical description, they are gray-skinned humanoids with 4 arms and pure black eyes. Lacking a protruding nose, a Kasatha's head is smooth and elongated, with skin stretched tight to a skull extending backward far beyond the back of the neck. While lean compared to humans, they have more advanced muscle fibers that grant them surprising strength. The physical differences between genders are slight and usually easily overlooked. The thing about Kasathas is that most players want them because with 4 arms, you can wield 2 two-handed weapons. Yes, you can fire 2 bows at once or fire 2 rifles at once. Yes, I have done this. Yes, it is fun. But is it useful in this module? Not really. So they have desert stride, which means that they can move through difficult terrain in deserts, hills, and mountains. Closest to Orion? But Orions don't even have forearms. I think we could do better for Orions than a Kasatha. I really do. They get the desert stride. Now, technically, we could turn this into any kind of stride we want. I mean, this could be forest stride, this could be tundra stride, this could be urban stride. We could make that whatever we wanted. And instead of being deserts, hills, and mountains, it could be, you know, cityscapes or forests, anything. Four-armed, right out, obviously. Historian. Due to their in-depth historical training and wide-ranging academic background knowledge they possess, they get a +2 racial bonus in culture checks. I mean, maybe. And a natural grace. They get a +2 bonus to acrobatics and athletics. I'm not sure who this really applies to. I mean, natural grace, historian, and stride. Who could we use that for, if anybody? I mean, I suppose could this be our Andorian if we change desert to ice? Andorians are pretty militaristic, but I mean military history is pretty big. Natural grace? I remember Andorians in Star Trek Enterprise. They were acrobatic and athletic. Could this be our Andorian? What do you think? Actually, we don't need it for Acacian because we've already got a cat species. We've already got one. That one's done. In fact, let me pull it up. Let's see. Races by other publishers, I think. Or is it not? Hold on. Standard Fantasy? No. Oh, what the hell was it called? Hold on a second. I've got this written down somewhere. Let's see. Where is my character? Loading, loading, loading. Here we go. Where's my character sheet? Tell me I put it on my sheet. Right. It's a Bantosai. Now, where's the Bantosai? Oh, okay, here we go. I found it. Races by other publishers, and it's going to be Rogue Genius Games. There it is. There's the catfolk. I don't know where I got the name Bantosai from. But yeah, here we go. Yeah, I know D&D has the Tabaxi, but we've got our own here. So for the catfolk here, we've got dexterity, charisma, less wisdom because, let's face it, cats do stupid things. It's not because they know better, it's just because they don't think before they do it. They have cat's luck, low light vision, natural hunter, they have sprinter because cats is quick. So we've got our perfect race right here for Cations already. So, we good there. So, these are just going to be Rogue Genius Catfolk. There we go. So, we're good on that one. No changes needed. I'm still feeling like this is our Andorian. I wonder if I can find different kinds of stride. Let's see, how about Desert Stride? We already know that one exists. Okay, here we go. Difficult terrain and the stride action. Wait, this is an action, not a trait. Never mind, this is not what I want. So, I may just have to kind of make it my own. Okay, I'm just going to make it my own then. Instead of Desert Stride, it'll just be, I don't know, Polar Stride or Tundra Stride or something like that. What should it be called? It'll be some kind of stride. So I'm going to take everything here, move it down a little bit. So we're going to go Kasatha, of course, minus 4 arms, because they don't get 4 arms. It's going to be, I don't know, I'm just going to call it Cold Stride for now. And that should be good enough. Other than that, they will get Historian and Natural Grace. Arctic Stride? You think so? I can do that. There we go. Arctic Stride. I like it. It's good. Let's see. What else did they get? Crew member replaces Historian. And I don't see any reason why they couldn't have that. This gives them a +2 racial bonus among computers, engineering, or piloting. Your choice. Or personal traditions. Once per day, as a reaction, they can re-roll a failed saving throw. This replaces Natural Grace. I'm actually good with any of those. So why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Crew member or personal traditions. There we go. You can have your choice. It's got to be one or the other. But I don't see any reason to exclude either one. Or I could just add one, actually. Ooh, that's an even better idea. Okay, I like this. I like this better. I like this better. Hold on. Hold on. Since I'm taking away 4 arms. Crew member or personal traditions. You can pick one or the other, but you get to keep both the other ones. Are they? I know they're kind of big on ceremonies sometimes, but I don't fully understand or know the species. But I'll allow either one of those. So you can take whichever one you want. And I think that makes a good Andorian. Let's see. The Bajoran is already done, so we can go ahead and move you up. Did I not put a box around you? I thought I put a box around you. There we go. Now you have a box around you. Okay. As for the rest of these, they have rituals like Klingons do? Okay, that's fair. Betazoid. Did we never do... Oh, I put that in the wrong place. I put that in the wrong place. No, don't do that. Down here. This comes down here with Betazoid, not Bajoran. Nobody likes Bajorans. Alright, put the box around them. Alright, what else we got? The Vesk we just looked for. Now, here's one that might get interesting. The Ysoki. So here's the description. Ranging from 3 to 4 feet tall, Ysoki resemble humanoid rats who walk upright, complete with fur, long incisors, constantly twitching noses, and partially prehensile tails that help them keep their balance and maneuver in zero gravity. Their small, dexterous hands are perfect for working on delicate electronics, and their keen noses often allow them to identify complex chemicals by smell. Male and female Ysoki are difficult for other races to tell apart, as they have similar body types and favor similar fashions. So, am I gonna say it? You gonna say it? Should we both say it at the same time? Actually, these guys might be useful for a lot of things. We might be making a lot of Ysokis. Alright, so their immediate racial traits. They get dexterity and intelligence, but less strength. I already know what one of them is gonna be. Ah, JP said it! He said it! Yeah, we're gonna be making a Ferengi with the Ysoki. Except I'm not even sure if Ferengi are all that dexterous. They're good at running away, I know that much. Okay, alternate ability adjustments though. Anthropomorphic. Many Ysoki are have animal-like features such as digitigrade legs or limbs at equal length. Some, however, have anatomy more resembling a human, such as plantigrade feet and legs longer than their arms. Are our legs longer than our arms? I thought they were about the same length. Huh, learn something new every day. And anthropomorphic Ysoki's ability adjustments are intelligence, charisma, and less strength. Rom was an excellent engineer. In fact, he was more than an excellent engineer. It was stated multiple times that he is a genius. He is a Ferengi with a genius-level intellect. And zero charisma. Rom was probably one of the greatest depictions, I think, of what a realistic autistic savant should be. Not all autistic savants are the Rain Man. Rom could hold a job. Rom had feelings. He knew what he wanted to do. He had friends. He was social. Kinda. He was bad at being social, but he could still do it. But his engineering knowledge? Off the charts. I think he was people want to talk about representation. We need representation in all these things. There you go. There was your representation. Did you care then? No, you didn't. Because you said Star Trek was for nerds. Well, guess who's laughing now? It's actually still them. They're still laughing at us. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway. Anthropomorphic gives +2 to intelligence and charisma, -2 to strength. Here's my problem. Would anybody call a Ferengi charismatic? Almost everybody in the galaxy hates the Ferengi. At the same time, though, the Ferengi are still massively successful. So, like, do I penalize their charisma because everyone hates them, or do I give them a double bonus because they're still alive? I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I think I skipped one up here. This one's not even labeled. Yosoki of disparate cultures once possessed the unique ability to adjustments, but the genetics have become intertwined so that variations can appear among Yosoki populations. Such of them have these. They have dexterity and intelligence, but also -2 strength. In fact, I guess they're not all -2 strength. So we got dexterity and intelligence, and no strength. Intelligence and charisma, no strength. The no-grav version, who are used to living in zero gravity or low gravity. Tux says they have high charisma, they only choose to use it to negotiate. That's probably fair, actually. Let's see, no-grav have double dexterity and minus constitution. That's not a Ferengi. Or survivors. A survivor Yosoki's ability adjustment is just a +2 constitution. Yeah, but you gotta be charismatic to be an influencer. I mean, that's why I'm never gonna be an influencer. Things just are the way they are. Yeah, I'm tempted to give it to him. Especially since it's a bonus to intelligence, but no bonus to wisdom, because, much like the Klingons, Ferengi do stupid shit that usually backfires on them. I'm gonna go with this one. We're gonna start on a Ferengi. So we're gonna put this down here. Ferengi is going to be an anthropomorphic Yosoki. Okay, now that we got that. Size and type. Yosoki are classified as small humanoids. I think that's fair. They can be a small humanoid. I mean, even tall Ferengi, like Rom, are still pretty short. Hello, Jeffrey. Good to have you here. You are late, but that's okay. I didn't take attendance. So you get to skate this time. Alright, cheek pouches. Ferengi do not have cheek pouches, although I'm sure they wish they did. Dark vision. Ferengi can barely see in normal light. In fact, they can barely see anything in front of their head or their face that's not gold-plated latinum. So, they do not get dark vision. Moxie. The Yosoki are scrappy and nimble even when the odds are against them. A Yosoki can stand from a prone as a swift action. Additionally, when off-kilter, Yosoki does not take the normal penalties to attacks or gain the flat-footed condition. When attempting an acrobatics check to tumble through the space of an opponent at least one size category larger than himself, the Yosoki receive a +5 racial bonus. Hold on a second. Dry spot in my throat. Too much talking. But I'm having so much fun. Look, that was your fault for telling me that you missed it in the comments. I mean, that's on you. Besides, I said I didn't take attendance this time. I didn't say I didn't take attendance last time. Okay. Moxie. I have a hard time giving this one to the Ferengi. Because while I would instantly agree that Ferengi have Moxie, I don't think they have it like this. I would not call a Ferengi dexterous. So I can't give it to him. Let's see, Scrounger. Yosoki receive a +2 racial bonus to engineering, stealth, and survival. That I believe. That one I believe. I will absolutely give them Scrounger. Now, since we're not giving them cheek pouches, dark vision, or moxie, let's see what else we can give them. And I'm actually doing pretty good, Jeffrey. Thank you for asking. Let's see. Blind sense. Replaces dark vision. Nope. Not giving it to them. Just because they're not, you know, the best sightseers, they don't get blind sense. Natural weapons. No, they don't get that. Scrappy. Many Yosoki are capable of taking on or dealing surprising amounts of damage. A Yosoki with this trait gains 4 racial hit points at the first level instead of 2. In addition, while a Yosoki has 0 stamina points, they gain a +1 insight to melee attack rolls. I'm tempted to give it to them. And JP says trade it for a hearing bonus. You know, that might work. That might work, actually. You're right, Ferengi do have super hearing. Yeah. So this just says that some Yosoki can detect faint odors and taste, granting them blind sense, but we could easily make that hearing and call it the same thing. I like it. That's a good call. That's a real good call. So we don't have dark vision anyway. We're going to give blind sense hearing. And I'll make it specify hearing. That way, if a Ferengi gets deafened or there is nothing for them to hear, such as if they were in 0G, someone just floating through a corridor towards them, it wouldn't apply. But I like that. That was a good call. Okay, Scrappy. I'm tempted to give it to them. We've got several here that replace Scrounger. Or excuse me. Those replace Scrounger. This replaces Moxie, which he doesn't have anyway. So, since there's no Moxie, I'm going to go ahead and give Scrappy. And I'm going to call it Scrappy just because even if it's not intentional, Ferengi tend to be lucky. And so when they get desperate, they get lucky. And that's exactly what this is. Now, Scrounger gives a +2 racial bonus to engineering, stealth, and survival checks. All 3 of them, not your choice. That's pretty good. Skilled replaces Scrounger and gives an additional skill rank at the first level and each additional level thereafter? Okay. I mean, sure, that just means that you can increase your skills however you choose. Not bad, but most Ferengi are not, like, savants. Like, Rom would have this, but most others wouldn't. At least I don't think. Well, I mean, diplomacy, appraisal, these are all skills as well. I suppose a Ferengi could have that. Swarmer. Swarmer Yosoki use their small size slip past defenses and strike at weak points. They gain the benefits of flanking an opponent provided at least one other ally is threatening that foe, regardless of position. Cool, but not terrifically useful. And then Wastelander. Many Ysoki have been found to make do with whatever they can scrounge. They get a +2 racial bonus to survival, and +2 to fortitude saves against disease, poison, and the effects caused by nauseated or sickened. That, I think, is going to be very important when we get to some other races. That Wastelander ability right there. It's not going to be useful for our Ferengi. But I think it makes for a really good, what are some of the other ones? Wait, what's that? Oh, sounds like a distraction mechanic. Wait, which one sounds like a distraction mechanic? The Swarmer? I guess it's kinda, but not really. They're just, you know, used to ganging up on people like the Lilliputians. Either way, I don't think I'm going to give anything else to the Ferengi. I think that's a pretty good Ferengi right there. So we'll just format this. I think that works. I'm going to call it good. When it comes time to make a character, this can always be discussed during that time. Humans are just human, so that can stay there. Yeah, I think that looks good. I think that looks good. Okay, we're still missing a few though. So, what were some of those races that had the resistances? Oop, too far. Not Andorians, you're done. Bajorans, I have no idea what to do with you guys. Bajorans are basically human, aren't they? I mean, aside from the fact that Bajorans tend to be really spiritual, Bajorans are basically human, aren't they? That's what I seem to remember. I don't think there's anything special about them whatsoever. They look human. They do everything that humans do. We don't have any Vorta. I told you, we don't have any Vorta. We're doing the Starfleet races right now. When we go and do the Dominion, we'll do Vorta then. I don't think the Vorta are resistant to all poison. I think they're just plain immune to most of them. But yes, I do remember that. And that'll be handy when it comes time to do the Vorta. But the Vorta don't exist in here, so I can't use them as a template. I want to look at something. Races. Humans. Now, humans are going to have all kinds of alternate traits. Aren't they? Ooh, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. Let's see. They get a bonus feat and they get skilled. They can also have adopted, which replaces skilled. They get a deep understanding of cultures that gives them a +2 to the cultural checks to recall knowledge about non-humans. Disguise checks to appear as humanoids of another race. Not useful. Dusk sight just gives them low light vision. And fortified gives them extra fortitude against environmental hazards, such as radiation, reduced duration of sickened and nauseated. Not terribly helpful. I wonder, actually. Character themes. So when you're making a character, they tell you to take a theme. And the reason you take a theme is because this confers to you extra bonuses. Basically, this is kind of what your character grew up doing in addition to your class. Your class gives you a tool set. But the character theme is like your career. So I wonder if perhaps... I can barely read this. It's so tiny. Alright, JP, well, we're going to be here for a while. At least a half an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Alright, so what do we have here? For Bajorans. Cultist? Bajorans are kind of culty. Let's see. So, you served as a hooded, faceless adherent to a religion or organization that remains hidden from public view. That's not entirely true. Let's see. Theme knowledge. You catalog symbols, members, and indoctrination techniques for the cult you joined. Yeah, okay. Reduce the DC of culture and mysticism checks to recall knowledge about hidden cults and secretive religions. No, this doesn't work for Bajoran. What else we got? Let's see. Cyberborn, Death Touch, Dragon Blood, Giant Blood. Priest! What does Priest have to say? Okay, theme knowledge. Choose a deity or philosophy whose alignment is within one step on either the good or evil axis or the long chaos axis of your own. Okay, well in this case, your deity would be the prophets. Done. Reduce the DC of culture and mysticism checks to recall knowledge about religious traditions, religious symbols, and famous religious leaders by 5. Mysticism becomes a class skill for you. Though if it's already a class skill from the class you take at first level, you instead get a +1 bonus to checks. In addition, you gain an ability adjustment of a +1 wisdom at character creation. At the 6th level, you get Mantle of the Clergy. See, typical lay followers of your religion have a starting attitude of helpful. This gives you a +2 bonus to diplomacy and intimidated checks against lay followers and lower ranking clergy. At the 12th level, Divine Boon. That actually probably works. Your deity grants you mystic power. Choose one first-level mystic spell with some connection to your deity's portfolio, subject to the GM's approval. If you have levels in the mystic class, you gain 1 additional first-level spell per day, and add the chosen spell to your mystic spells known. Otherwise, you can use the chosen spell once per day as a spell-like ability. And this kind of works because the prophets have been known to do things. At the 18th level, True Communion. Up to twice per day after performing a significant action strongly aligned with your faith's dogma at the GM's discretion, you can spend 10 minutes in deep meditation or prayer to regain 1 resolve point. This doesn't count as resting to regain stamina points. Interesting, but this works. I mean, this really works for a Bajoran. Now, what does I want to do with it? I think I might just... I don't necessarily want to require it. But I do feel like maybe I should give like a double bonus for the stats. Yeah, I think so. I think I'll just double any plus bonus. So like I'm not gonna double the reduction for class checks, but instead of getting a +1 wisdom, I'll give him a +2. And down here, if you already have mysticism, you get a +2 bonus to mysticism instead. I like that. I think that's good. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think that the Bajorans are just going to be humans. And they're going to be priests. At a +2 wisdom. There we go. And yes, lurking is fine. Fact of the matter is that this didn't need to be a live stream. I would have done this anyway for fun. Oh, that's why I keep losing my boxes around everything. Now, Tux, don't listen to multiple people stream at one time. That is a surefire way to give yourself a complex. Because you spend enough time listening to multiple people talking at once, and then when you turn it off, the voices don't stop, and then they throw you in the loony bin because now you have multiple personality disorder. Okay, benzites. I have no idea what a benzite is. So we're going to have to look this one up. According to this, benzites are resistant to physical damage as well as toxic and radiation. And energy. Let's see. Physical features. Benzites are a humanoid race with very distinguishable in appearance. No hair, blue skins, tendrils around their mouth and nose area. Those from the same geostructure naturally look identical. Benzites were required to wear a piece of equipment that helped them breathe in nitrogen-oxygen environments, but they no longer need it. In the game, however, they're still able to choose whether they want to wear it. They were very closed off with the Federation. Yeah, there you go, Tux. One invisible friend is just fine. Nobody ever complained about having one invisible friend. Let's see. Species trait. Benzite bodies are protected by a smooth, chitinous covering, providing them protection from physical damage. They have unique internal chemistry which prevents them from functioning in standard Federation environment, but also provides them with heightened resistance to toxic and radiation damage. Now, this, I think, is where the Ysoki are going to come in handy. Starjammer Ysoki. If not, then we're going to have to start looking at other races. Because there are other races, but the further we stray from the core, the more unbalanced they can get. Alright, Wastelander. So this is +2 to survival, +2 to fortitude saves against disease, poison, and the effects that cause nauseated or sickening. Now the one thing that was not mentioned is the fact that the benzites have natural armor. Because they have that chitinous body. So, how are we going to do this? If we took a Ysoki and we made it a Survivor Ysoki, that would give it just a bonus to its Constitution, okay? So it's just +2 Constitution. And that would give it the additional toughness. They don't have cheek pouches, they don't have dark vision. I don't see why they would have Moxie. They don't have natural weapons. I have no problem giving them Scrappy. And I have no problem giving them Wastelander. Here's the thing. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 abilities. So why don't we just come over here and make sure that we have 4 slots. I think we do. So they are going to be a Survivor Ysoki. Now, first thing that we actually do have to do is we have to make them medium. They got to be medium size. Because they're a pretty standard humanoid race. Next, cheek pouches. We don't have it. But what I think we'll do instead of cheek pouches is we'll give natural armor +1. And so that'll be for the chitinous body. They don't have dark vision. I'm not giving them anything to replace that. Moxie. Moxie's not going to do them any good if I make them medium, because how often are you going to come across large opponents? It doesn't happen that often. I have no problem, however, giving them scrappy. Especially since they came into the Federation late, probably because their ideals of, you know, peace, love, and unity didn't really jive. At least that's what I'm going to assume. After that, I'm going to give them Wastelander. And that will give them the resistances to disease, poison, and nauseated sickened. It's not perfect, because this says toxic and radiation. And toxic would be disease and poison. But there's nothing in here about radiation. But it is a... You know, I could just add it in there. I could just add it in there. Watch this. No one can tell me I can't do that, because I can do that. And so there we go. I think we got a good benzite there. I like it. Alright, so what do we got so far? We've got Andorians done. Let's box it. Bajorans are done. Let's box it. Benzites are done now. Let's box them. Oops, undo that. Didn't get all of it. There we go. Betazoid is right there. No, we're not going to color it. Let's just box it. Okay. Next up is Bolian. They're also blue. I remember that much. So, what is it about Bolians? They're an older Federation race. Alright, physical features. They're distinct with blue skin and a vertical ridge running down their face. Lack of hair. Some female Bolians, however, do have hair. Okay, says they have a lack of hair, but some of them do have hair. So then you would say sometimes they have hair. Alright, Bolians tend to be very friendly and outspoken, sometimes unnecessarily. Bolian marriages sometimes consist of more than 2 people. An additional spouse is referred to as co-husband or co-wife. They often work in service jobs such as bartenders, waiters, hairdressers, mostly due to their good nature and friendly approach. Every branch of Starship service suits their desire for teamwork and structure. Their species trait. They are highly outspoken and jovial. Internal chemistry makes them resistant to toxic damage as well as corrosive to foes who bite them. Right. These are the guys that are poisonous. Okay. Okay. So, how do we do this? Because I can... In all the games that I have ever played, in all the campaigns that I've ever run, getting bit is usually not a big problem. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes when you're going up against like wild animals and such, maybe it happens then. Let's see. They can do corrosive damage to people that bite them. I wonder. Let me look at something real quick, okay? So they're not going to be a Ysoki. That much is obvious. If I could make them anything, it sounds like they would actually be a good candidate for a non-telepathic Lashunta. So take a Lashunta, strip away the telepathy, make them blue. And like, telepathy is a big thing for them, but that just means no mind forward, obviously. They would probably be a Karasha. So they would get +2 strength. Often brash and unobservant, though. -2 wisdom. That doesn't really work. Whereas the Demaya, get +2 intelligence but -2 constitution. There's nothing to say that Bolians are any weaker than anyone else. Or at least any more fragile. So I'm not sure that really works. I wonder if perhaps I should use human for them. Since their stats seem to be very human, and they could put the +2 into charisma if they wanted to. Just, to show that they're more charismatic. What I would like to look into, though, is Vesk. Specifically, Vesk Venom. Although most Vesk are not venomous, few have venomous sacs and elongated teeth held over from a subspecies that has since gone extinct. Now, interestingly, Vesk with this racial trait can deal piercing or bludgeoning damage with their unarmed strikes. When they make a successful unarmed strike that deals piercing damage, the target takes damage from the attack. As a reaction, the Vesk can expose the target to venom. Once a Vesk has used their venom, they can do so again only after taking a 10-minute rest to regain stamina points. So the poison type is an injury, fortitude is DC 10 plus half their level, plus the constitution modifier. It's on the dexterity track, because poison, disease, they work differently in Starjammer. It's a little bit weird, but not for right now. It's actually kind of complicated. The onset is 1 round, frequency is 1 round for 6 rounds, progression track is healthy, sluggish, stiffened, staggered. Staggered being the end state, which means that it cannot kill them. I kinda like this. It doesn't tell us what or how toxic a Bolian is, but I think that I would like to use the Vesk Venom in case they get bit. I think that's what I'm going to do, actually. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Bolians are going to be humans. Now, as a human, they can have all the things that humans normally get. Here we go, humans. So humans naturally, let's say they get a bonus feat, they're skilled, they can get a +2 to any one ability they want, their choice. So human with all the same features, but with Vesk Venom when injured. And obviously, if they get injured by, a sword or something, or a laser blaster or whatever, it's not going to do anything. But if they get bitten, or hell, maybe even touched, then maybe we do the poison thing. I kind of like it. Okay, Cation. Already done. That means Cardassian. So JP said that Cardassians were crafters and artisans, Yeah, architects, shipwrights, things like that. I have no idea what to do with them. We've been through all the core races, really. And there's not a lot to really add. Let's take a look at some of these other ones. D20 PFSRD? I have no idea what these are. What are you? So, Abirazi are shape-changing oozes. Yeah, not gonna work. Aurelians. Most Aurelians are spacefaring nomads traveling between the stars and the void they've come to call home. Reputation for being fair and honest traders. Known for dealing in strange wonders in the deepest void. That might be our Talaxian, actually. They're living ships. Okay, we're not going to have that. While disconcerting to those unfamiliar with them, are usually greeted with anticipation. It's never been known what rarities they bring from the depths of the void. They're also famed for their great and passionate love of humanoid music. Yeah, definitely our Talaxians. Aurelians are small aberrations. We can adjust that. Dark Vision, Eye Stalks, okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. The backstory is good. The species doesn't work for Talaxian, though. We're not looking for that, though. We're looking for Cardassians. Bisani are strong buffalo-like mercenaries whose entire lives are based around honor and discipline. Proud warriors. Not a Cardassian. Manu. What are these? Hailing from a verdant world known as Kodin, the Manu have made a meteoric rise in the stars because the race was considered little more than primitive savages more than a few millennia ago. Now they boast one of the most technologically advanced civilizations in the universe, pioneering some of the most innovative magitech available. Okay, well, we're not going to have magic because it's Star Trek, but most Manu live productive lives working to improve some aspect of Manu culture, or to provide some lasting work that will be remembered for many generations to come. But some were born to seek adventure across the stars. I'm liking this already. Alright, so ability adjustments, more intelligence, more wisdom. I don't think that anybody's going to accuse the Cardassians of not being smart, wise. Yeah, it's iffy. Dark Vision. Nope, get that out. Magisense, or Mage Sense. They can detect magic as a constant spell-like ability. Get it out. Master Tinker. A +1 bonus to computer checks to disable a computer system and engineering checks to disable devices. They're proficient with any weapon they have personally crafted. Okay. So you're playing a race, or you're playing a class that has access or proficiency with small arms. But you build your own minigun. And you're proficient with it because you personally made it. I gotta say, that kind of sounds like something a Cardassian would do. It also sounds like something that could backfire on them. It's like, here, I built this handheld phaser cannon. Let's see what happens. Okay, Snap Innovation. Once per day, they can treat their character level as if it were 4 higher for the purposes of using any level-based class feature, such as the Mechanic's Energy Shield trick or an Operative's Field Treatment exploit. The trait does not give the Manu early access to level-based powers. It only affects the powers they could already use. Basically, it sounds kind of like luck, except you get to guide it. I kinda like it. Except there's no alternate racial traits here, and 2 of them are all automatically out. No Magitech and... Well, here's the thing. It says craft Magitech, And what it says is a +1 racial bonus to mysticism checks and engineering checks to craft tech items. And they always treat these skills as class skills. They get a +1 bonus to all craft checks to create magical items. I feel like what I could do is nix the dark vision altogether. Then, instead of having it be a +1 bonus to craft or to craft checks to create magical items, I think make it just a craft check to create items. I mean, it doesn't have to be magical. If you're making anything, just let it be a bonus to craft items. I mean, this is kind of what Cardassians do, I guess, so I think this works. I think this works well. Now, the Magisense has to get out. It's just gone. Which leaves Craft Tech, Master Tinker, and Snap Innovation. I might increase the bonus to Craft Tech to make it a +2. And leave everything else as it is. I kind of like that. So who is this? This is D20 PFSRD. Manu. So this is going to be Craft Tech at a +2. After that, they get Master Tinker. They get Snap Innovation. And I think that makes for a good Cardassian. Put a box around it. Okay, Ferengi, Klingon, Liberated Borg. There we go. We'll just move these up. Alright, next. Packlet. Packlet? I wrote Packlet. Packled. Pretty sure. Packled. Is it Packlet or Packled? Wait, you guys are typing. I can't get pronunciation that way. Never mind. Okay, let's go back and look at them. Packled. I like Packled better. It's funny. Oh, wait, I remember these guys. These are the sad-looking guys. Okay, Packleds. Heavy-set humanoids that feature sunken eyes with bushy, upward-turned eyebrows, series of folds beneath their eyes, and a drooping lower lip. Males tend to have a receding hairline. Yeah, they're very sad. Other information. They are largely nomadic that often trade, scavenge, or steal from other species for their technology. They have underdeveloped verbal communication skills. Due to this, many people underestimate them, thinking they are too intellectually challenged to be devious, which they use to their advantage. While most Packleds are politically unaligned, few have chosen to join Starfleet, where they have demonstrated they can become more than just simple nomads or traders. Alright, I want to go back and look at that one again. I think it was the Aurelian. Yeah. Because these guys exist as nomads. What racial traits do they have? Do they have anything that's like really about trading? No. No, they don't. They have nothing about trading. Okay. You're useless. So I need a scavenger and trader and nomad if I can get it. What about you guys? Passamachi. After devastation rained down upon their homeworld in the form of a massive meteor shower that destroyed an entire hemisphere, they took to the stars. Relatively new to spacefaring, they have an innate sense of curiosity and awe. They bug people, though. I'm just saying, they're bug people. Let's see. They are humanoids with the Pachama subtype and medium size. Base speed of 20 feet, but their speed is never modified by armor or encumbrance. They have dark vision. They're insectoid. They can climb. They have climb and expert climbing. Hardened carapace, shell slam, stability. Yeah, none of this is helpful. Let's see. Tortanian? Are you turtle people? Tortanian people are tortoise-like ancient people. Of course they are. I don't really care about what your description is. What are your traits? Here we go. Less dexterity, more constitution, more intelligence, more wisdom, charisma. Holy crap. You get bonuses to almost everything. This is why you gotta be really careful about looking into the third-party stuff. Let's see. Slow and steady. They have a land speed of 20, but it's never modified by wearing heavy armor. They have low light vision. They have a shell. That's nixed. Hard shell, stability, stubborn, language. Okay. Okay. Here's what I think we're going to do. I have a better idea. Instead of doing this, because I don't think we're going to find any race, I think we're going to do like we did with the Bajorans. So, Packleds are tough. They have stun resistance, confuse resistance, and placate resistance. They're not necessarily resistant to toxins or radiation or anything like that. They're just... They're just tough. What I think we could do is... I know, feats. General feats. We're going to go Fortitude, I think. Great Fortitude? Okay. You gain a +2 bonus to Fortitude saving throws. Okay. I think this is good. So you're resistant to diseases, poisons, other maladies. Actually, no, it's not really good. I want something to resist being moved. I wonder if it will fall under a combat thing. Let's see. Let me do a quick search over here real quick. We want something that will resist being moved. So that means resisting a bull rush, resisting a charge, resisting a reposition. And that's going to be all under here. If I can find it. Let's see, special movement rules, evasion pursuit, additional movement types. Well, this isn't helpful at all. Hold on. Charge. Here we go. That might work. Let's see, charging interactions. That's just charging at somebody. Well, this is not being very helpful. Alright, what about combat maneuvers? What combat maneuvers can we do in general? Here we go. Combat maneuvers. Bull rush. A bull rush, you knock a target back by 5 feet plus 5 additional feet for every 5 feet in which your resulting attack roll is over that. Alright, that's a combat maneuver. For each maneuver, choose an opponent within reach. Make a melee attack roll against them, against their kinetic armor class, plus 8. Alright, so in that case, maybe I have to do something very, very specific. Perhaps we would need to do just an additional AC versus repositioning. Yes, Jeffrey, I see you. I haven't forgotten you're there. Senpai has noticed you? Whichever way you want to go. Great Fortitude doesn't really help us here. Alright, what about combat feats then? Let's take a look. Adaptive fighting. I wish I had just like one sheet with everything on here. The Pathfinder SRD has that, but this one doesn't. Let's see. Blood in their eyes, combat casting, close combat, defensive roll, defensive striker, deflect. Yeah, none of this is terribly helpful. So I'm gonna have to kind of home rule this one. Yep, gonna have to do this one myself. Alright, so, in that case, pack leads, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make them human. Just human. Now, because pack leads are human, I think that what we can do is just allow a human to be made as usual. Nothing special, nothing has to change. Under character themes, though, there's a few options. For example, Quartermaster could be useful, because a Quartermaster is all about trade. So as theme knowledge, the DC skill checks of identifying military-related technological items or recall knowledge related to them is less. Let's see, they get ranks in Quartermaster, which is also good. Cargo Carrier, which lets them carry more gear. Field Crafter means that they can create stuff out of basically nothing. So that's kind of useful for a Packled. There's also Spacefarer, since they are nomadic. This would give them additional constitution, and more importantly, let's see, reduce the DC of physical science checks to recall knowledge about strange new worlds. Let's see, +1 to physical science if you've already got it. And an adjustment of +1 to constitution, which is fine. Eager Dabbler. You picked up a few tricks, and even if you haven't formally studied them, +2 to skill checks if you don't have any ranks in that skill. Could be useful. Jack of all trades at level 12. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think we can do like we did with the Bajorans and just give extra bonuses for this. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure what to really do with them. Let's see. Grifter, Gladiator, Giant Blood. I thought there was literally a trader in here, but I guess there wasn't. Spacefarer might have been the best option there. There's a menu shipbuilder in here. That's kind of funny. Since we used that for the Cardassians. Wow, you can make your Cardassians even better at building ships. Huh, not useful now, but I'm glad I know that. I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll double the bonuses on Spacefarer for the Packleds. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So first off, I'm going to give them a +1 KAC versus repositioning. And then I will give them Spacefarer ×2. Which is basically the same. I think I phrased the Bajoran one differently. But this should do it. So we'll go ahead, we'll box some of these off. Humans are humans. Klingons are just Vesk with a different skin. Liberated Borg is a template that we'll have to work on. And Packled gets that. Okay, next up. Rigelian. What even is a Rigelian? Time to find out. So, down, down, down. Here we go, Rigelian. So, Rigelians are a humanoid race inhabiting Rigel 5. They have been warp-capable species since the mid-22nd century, took part in the Coalition of Planets talks, which led to the formation of the United Federation of Planets. They are a playable race, yes, physical features, okay. Believe that they have 4 or 5 genders. Their internal physiology is similar to Vulcans and Romulans, blood chemistry included. Interesting. The 3 races have similar neurology, as they're each susceptible to Tuvin syndrome, a neurological disease. The Rigelian Trade Commission regulated commerce in their system during the 22nd century. So their traits are they have more hit points, they have 9 addition, or they heal faster, and they resist damage better. You know what I'm thinking here? I'm thinking we go custom. I'm thinking this is going to be a completely custom race, actually. It's okay, though. It's not going to be too difficult. Let's see. They also have this ability, Spirit Walk. Temporarily increases your damage resistance and provides a surge of healing. Not sure what I'm going to do with that, but we'll get to that. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Because they do have bonus hit points, here's what we're going to do. We are just going to go +2 Constitution. If I give them a +4, I got to take it away from somewhere. So, +2 Constitution. Next, we're going to give them the Toughness feat. Okay, bonus feat, Toughness. Now, as for natural healing, I think I have a solution for that. I think. Do I have any monster rules in here? Let's see. Creature companions? No. I could just check the bestiary. No, I don't want to read the bestiary. And besides that, I'm probably not going to use much of it anyway. I will probably make all of my own NPCs and different things when I run the game. Okay, so it says fast healing is very simple. Creature simply regains the listed number of hit points at the start of every turn. That actually seems to be pretty easy to implement. This says that they recover 9 hit points per turn every second for 6 seconds. I think what I'm going to do, just because I don't want this to be too unbalanced, is I will just give fast healing 1. Maybe I could bump it up to 2. Yeah, I'll go ahead and bump it up to 2, actually. Not W, 2. There we go. It also says that they're able to resist damage better. And so, if they can resist damage better, is this maybe where the greater fortitude would come in? Let me double check that. General feats. Where was it? Here it is. Greater fortitude. A +2 bonus to fortitude saving throws. Yeah, I like that. So, bonus feat greater fortitude. And that should be good for that. As for the spirit walk ability, I don't really know what to do with that. This just temporarily increases your damage resistance and heals you. I'm not necessarily inclined to include this because it seems a little bit silly. I think this is good for a Rigelian. So they get toughness, they get greater fortitude, they get fast healing. And they get a larger pool of hit points to begin with. They're tough. There's really nothing else that's terribly special about them, but they're tough. And I mean, that should be good enough for anybody, right? Next is Saurians. Now, what is a Saurian? I don't know. JP says go to 3. You really think they should get 3 per turn? That means on this turn they get 3. On next turn they get 3 more, that's 6. On the next turn they get 3 more, that's 9. On the next turn they get 3 more, that's 12. That's a lot of hit points to heal over 4 turns. Do they make good brandy? I don't know. That can be part of the lore. I don't think it needs to be included here. Okay, Saurians. They are a reptilian race. That automatically means that I'm thinking Vesk, but probably not. Traits. They are resistant to plasma and toxic and fire and exploit damage and flanking damage. They are just tough. Nothing to make me say that they are incredibly strong. They're not stronger than anyone. They're not smarter than anyone. They're not necessarily more or less charismatic than anyone. They're just tough. But not in like the Rigelian toughness, where they just have this boundless reserve of hit points, but in the you just can't hurt them kind of way. So what I'm thinking of is we're going to do something similar to the Rigelians, we'll do something similar to the Rigelians. I don't think it says whether they lay eggs or not. You might have to go ask one. Let's see. Physical features, other information. They make brandy, obviously. They are known to be physically strong and very intelligent. I take it back. President of the Federation in 2049. Okay, okay. Physically strong, very intelligent. And physically tough. Let's go check the Vesk again, okay? We're gonna check the Vesk again. Come on. There we go. Okay, Vesk. Here we go. So, we need strength and intelligence. Can we find it? Here's strength, but minus intelligence. This is dexterity and intelligence. Minus strength. Wisdom and charisma. Minus constitution. Warblood is strength and dexterity minus charisma. Okay, so Vesk is not going to necessarily work unless we do custom adjustments. And you know what? I'm actually okay with that. I am okay with that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Vesk. We're going to go plus strength plus intelligence. However, minus. What are we taking away? My initial thought is to maybe take away charisma because they are... Well, I mean, look at them. I mean, what are we supposed to do with this? Our options are dexterity, constitution, wisdom, or charisma. We got to take away from one of them. What are we doing? Since they are resistant to all of this stuff, I got to say it can't be constitution. Because if we take away from constitution, we're lowering the fortitude save, and we're making them more resistant to this stuff. So it can't be constitution. That leaves dexterity, wisdom, or charisma. Let's check this on Memory Alpha, actually. Let's look at what we got on the Saurian species. Maybe that'll give us a hint. Biology. Ah, Tux, I got an answer for you. Saurians are hatched. Therefore, Saurians lay eggs. And yes, JP, a Saurian was the Federation president. But just because one Saurian made it to become president, doesn't necessarily mean that they as a species have high charisma. I will say that just because they are part of the Federation, they probably have better charisma. I mean, and if you don't have high charisma, you're probably not good at playing nice with others. Let's see. History, culture. Wow, there's like not a whole lot here on Saurians. But you know what? If we can, if we can assume that because they're in the Federation, their charisma's probably not all that bad, then we can narrow this down again to either dexterity or wisdom. And maybe that makes this easier. So we'll leave their charisma alone. It's either dexterity or wisdom. And I tell you what, looking at Memory Alpha on my other machine, it does say that they have 6 nasal canals, making certain afflictions such as the common cold particularly miserable. They do shed their skin once a year, during which time they are forced to avoid any areas where hygiene was important, such as the mess hall. I don't think that goes to penalize their wisdom at all, but the fact that they have a skin that they outgrow and have to shed, I think might actually penalize their dexterity. So what I think we're going to do, what I think we'll do, is I think we're going to penalize their dexterity. Now just stick with me on this one. We're going to penalize their dexterity. Because they are reptilian, however, I'm going to give them natural armor +1. Now that is actually going to make up for the deficit in their dexterity. Because they have 2 less dex, they lose 1 AC. But because they have +1 natural armor, they get it back. Now this also means that their dodge will be lower. I can't help that. It just means that they're going to be a little bit less nimble. Now, as for the damage resistances, I think that I can go ahead and fix that the same way we did it with the Rigelians, kinda. And that'll just be to give them greater fortitude. After that, it says that they have a +10 perception. So a +10 perception means that we'll go ahead and we will give them greater perception. They do look kind of squishy looking, but it says that they're reptiles, so I'm going to go with it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to do observant, a +2 perception. There we go. And that should be good for them. I think that makes a good Saurian. Still medium size. Don't really need to bother with that. That moves us on to Talaxians. Now, Talaxians, I was kinda leaning towards the Ysoki because of the whole scrappy nomad thing. But I think that I can do very similar to the Packled, and just basically kind of copy that. I mean, the only difference is Packled are really rooted. It's hard to move a Packled once they put their foot down. Okay, so they resist repositioning. Talaxians, not great fighters. So what are we going to do with them? I think with Talaxians, I'm going to go with human again. Now that comes with all the regular stuff. So they get the bonus feat and they get the bonus skills. I feel like I should give them... they need some kind of bonus to, like... Actually, maybe I should just give them a bonus to survival, since that's what they do. I mean, what do you think? Bonus to survival? I'm going to give them this as well. So we've got that. But I'm definitely thinking bonus to survival here. Diplomacy for humans and Talaxians? Maybe. Species trait is loyalty. +5 incoming healing for self and team. +5% skill points and expertise for team. So nothing that translates really well, because I'm not going to give you a bonus to experience just because you took a Talaxian. I mean, I'm good for giving them diplomacy, actually. Not necessarily for humans or Talaxians, but just generally diplomacy overall. So, diplomat. +2 diplomacy. I think that looks pretty good right there. They got the same Spacefarer trait, which helps them get along in space, which is basically what they do all the time anyway, so this is good. And the Spacefarer will give them the survivability they need anyway. So I like that. That's good. Next up is Tellarites. What's a Tellarite? I'll tell you, a Tellarite is the opposite of a Tellarong. Eh? Eh? Get it? Ah, that's okay. You can leave now. Okay, they are short humanoids from the planet Tellar. Oh, basically, these guys are space dwarves. These guys are space dwarves. What are we talking about? Stout porcine species with distinguished snout. Sometimes they may have hoof-like hands or feet. Their skin is pinkish-brown and coarse. Okay. Species trait. They're known to be stubborn and prideful. They have strong emotional responses. Their pig-headedness gives them resistance to physical and kinetic damage. It makes placate, hold, knockback effects less effective. And that's literally it. Let's see, culture. Stubborn pride and practicality, a sport in their homeworld. An argument is initiated by either a series of complaints or an insult. They enjoy mud baths and consider canine to be delicacy. Among their strengths is a talent for engineering. There you go. What would you consider mining to be engineering? Okay, well, I don't know if you've ever heard dwarves argue, but dwarven arguments have been known to last for centuries. Like, there are few races in all of fantasy who can hold a grudge for as long as a dwarf can. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, they're space dwarves. And I think that's what we're going to do. Going back here. We're going to go to standard fantasy races. Dwarves. Okay, stocky race, roughly shorter than, or a foot shorter than humans with broad, heavy frames. They trace their heritage to the furnaces of subterranean passages, with many born long after the planet's disappearance still feel the sting of its loss, kept alive in Dwarven song and legend. Dwarven history also claims they once had a different racial god, because this is literally already adapted for Starjammer. Some dwarves initiated the new quest for sky and gathered on generational starships, seeking an ultimate sky in an alien place or remote galactic region. These dwarves are adapted to 0G but lack the hardiness. Okay, so their normal abilities are Constitution, Wisdom, and minus Charisma. Sounds pretty good, actually. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue if you're not wise. However, these guys get +2 dexterity, intelligence, and less strength. I'm inclined to stick with the normal racial traits. Okay, Dark Vision, it's out. No reason to believe they have it. Slow and Steady. I'm inclined to leave it there. I mean, they're the pig people. They shall not be moved. Stone Cunning. I don't see any reason why they need to keep this. And Traditional Enemies. They're still trained to fight against their ancient enemies. I don't see why we need to keep this. Weapon Familiarity. Proficient with basic and advanced melee weapons and gain specialization with those weapons at the 3rd level. I'm inclined to leave it. Okay, so we're getting rid of Dark Vision and Stone Cunning. What can we replace it with? Let's see, Adamant Mage? No. Mining Expert. They get a +2 to physical science and profession minor checks. This replaces Stone Cunning. I'm inclined to let them have it. And Ship Dwarf replaces Dark Vision. I'm inclined to let them have it. Also, Tradition Mender replaces Traditional Enemies. Since we're not likely to come across very many orcs or goblins, I'm also inclined to let them have that too. So let's put this down. We're going to be a dwarf. Instead of Dark Vision, we will have Ship Dwarf. Let's see. Next was Slow but Steady. It's good. After that is Stone Cunning, which we're not going to have. We are instead getting Mining Expert. Next was Traditional Enemies. We're replacing Traditional Enemies with Tradition Mender. So that takes care of that. And then Weapon Familiarity, we're keeping. There we go. Not bad. Not a bad Tellarite. We'll go ahead and box that up and call it good. So next up is the Trill. We got 2 of these to do. There's the trill and then there's the joined trill. Not sure how much of a difference there is, but this looks like there's a pretty big difference between them. This has all kinds of resistances, so radiation damage, toxic damage. They get a little bit of health regeneration. So I mean, we could probably use fast healing for that. The joined trill has more health regeneration, plus it still has resistance, but less so than the normal trill. So I think what we're going to do for the trill is we're going to go with kind of a custom build. We're going to go with humans. So we're going to go with human and everything that comes with it. We'll have bonus feat, greater fortitude, just for the resistance to toxic and everything. And because of the health regeneration, fast healing 1. Wait, no, 2. Because... no, wait, it's just going to be 1. I take it back. Fast healing 1. And that's all that the trill we're going to get. That's it. Because there's really nothing more about them. Trill are basically just there to be hosts. There's nothing special about them until they're joined. I mean, I can go check it just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's it. That's all there is. So next is the joined trill. So joined trill have a symbiote, which gives them access to all the skills and memories of the previous hosts of the joined symbiote. Now that is not something that is terribly useful in Star Trek Online, but that is a massive, massive benefit in a game like Starjammer, or any tabletop game for that matter. They have a naturally fast metabolism which also increases regeneration, as well as providing resistance to radiation and toxic damage. This species this race could be broken. And it would be somewhat accurate for it to be broken. So we're going to go through this one step at a time. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to copy this down here. The first thing, the regeneration goes up. Next, so the resistance to radiation and toxic is actually down. So I think instead of this bonus feat greater fortitude, we're going to go with just a +1 fortitude. Okay, this is a little bit lower. But now we have to deal with this symbiote. And in order to deal with the symbiote, what I think we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do, and I'm going to borrow this from 5th edition D&D. I'm going to use the advantage system. So we're going to go with advantage, if I could spell it. We're going to go with advantage on the following checks. And these are basically all going to be either knowledge or... I mean, that'd be the short way to do this, actually. On anything knowledge or wisdom related. So if we come down here to skills, It doesn't actually show me here. So we're basically talking about computers, culture, yeah, computers, culture, engineering. It's tempting to throw charisma stuff in there as well, but I think that would just be a little bit too much. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go advantage on intelligence or wisdom skill checks once per day per level. And that is just, that's a lot right there. That's significant. So we're going to take this and we will paste it over this. Then we can take this and we'll box it in. We can move our Vulcan up, box that in. And then alien. Aliens are just human. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so there we go. Oh, you can't really read that. That's getting too small. But there we go. That's all of our races now. So we got our Andorians, Bajorans, Benzites, Betazoids, Bolians, Caitians. The only thing that we haven't gotten done so far is the liberated Borg. So why don't we do that? We've also been at this for almost 3 hours, so I think what we're going to do is we'll finish up the liberated Borg, and then we'll probably call it a day. And we'll save the rest of this for next week, and we'll start working on other things, like maybe either other races, or we can start adapting starships. I'll leave that one up to you. So, liberated Borg template. Okay, well, that didn't exactly work out well. No borders. Let's get rid of those. We'll go ahead and size this column appropriately. All right, so. We're starting with the previously chosen race. Now, characteristics of the Borg. They are very strong, very tough. They're also very slow. So we are penalizing their dexterity. But because we're penalizing their dexterity, we can go ahead and give them a couple of more bonuses. So what are we going to do for the bonuses? My initial instinct is plus strength, plus constitution, minus dexterity. But you can tell, or you can let me know what you think. I'm going to put this down for right now, though. So we got that for our liberated Borg right now, because even if they are liberated, they are still Borg, and there's a reason why everyone is terrified of them. Now, interestingly enough, this is where I want to come back to a race that we skipped over earlier, and that's the Shirans. The reason being, Shirans have a hive mind, which means that a Shiran, or a Borg rather, should have limited telepathy, but only with other Borg. And, you know, if they were on a Borg vessel, technically this wouldn't even be limited telepathy. This would just be telepathy, because they could contact every Borg in the collective. And for that matter, I'm not even sure if that would apply outside of the Borg ship. But that would be way too powerful, so I can't allow that in the game. But I am going to give it to them. I am going to give them limited telepathy with Borg. So any other Borg, they can just talk to them through their mental connection. There we go. Now, something else that the Borg are going to need, and we're going to get that from the androids. So there's not a whole lot that we can use here, but one of them is going to be the nanite upgrade. So specialized nanites maintain the android body, but they can be upgraded to perform additional tasks. Androids who have this racial trait gain the nanite integration, see below, as a bonus feat, ignoring the feat's prerequisites. So, let's see. Starjammer, SRD, nanite integration. We looked at this last time. This requires a character level of 3rd, the constructed racial trait or construct type, and you get either rebooting nanites. Oh, and you have to choose one of these when you get it. And it is technically more networking than telepathy, but every single time they use it, it comes across as telepathy. I mean, they're communicating through their minds. So however you want to consider it, whether it's like magical telepathy or digital telepathy, it's still telepathy. So the nanite integration gives you rebooting nanites, so whenever you sail a saving throw against an effect that would cause you to be asleep, blinded, confused, cowering, dazed, dazzled, deafened, exhausted, fatigued, frightened, nauseated, panicked, shaken, sickened, staggered, stunned, or unconscious, you can spend a resolve point as a reaction to attempt a new saving throw against the DC. If you succeed, the condition ends. You still suffer any other effects of your otherwise saved throw. Repairing nanites do just that. Whenever you take hit point damage, you can spend a resolve point to gain fast healing equal to 1/4 your character level. For 1 minute, that's 10 rounds. Or surging nanites, before you attempt a skill or ability check, you can spend a resolve point as a reaction to gain a +2 racial bonus to that check. So, we are getting the nanite upgrade. And that should cover not just the nanites that Borg have in their blood, but because you can use them as the rebooting nanites to block this stuff, that's basically your Borg adaptation as well. So we're going to kill 2 birds with that stone. It's a hell of a stone, too. Okay. So, we have your previously chosen race, then we apply the strength, constitution, and dexterity. the limited telepathy with Borg nanite upgrade, but there's one more thing that we need. And that is Borg are cybernetic. The rule was one arm, one eye, one mind. Which means we need some bionics. So we're going to come back here. We're going to go to the home page. We're going to come over to equipment. I think it's equipment, right? Augmentations. So the augmentations are going to be cybernetics. And here we have lots of things. We have hideaway limbs, prosthetic limbs, voice modulator, data jack, dark vision capacitors. In general, most of the stuff is way too high a level for anyone. However, I think that I'm going to go ahead and simply say you will start off with a prosthetic limb, and even though it's not listed on here, a prosthetic eye. Now, I don't believe that these offer any kind of bonuses. Let me check that. Let's see, prosthetic limb. Okay, the prosthesis replaces a missing limb. It restores functionality but is no more durable than and doesn't otherwise function differently than a normal limb for your species. The prosthetic limb can replace one that you've lost, or you can have a limb removed in order to replace it with a prosthesis. The storage prosthetic limb has a built-in concealed storage compartment which functions as a hideaway limb, see above. Okay, so your character will start off with a prosthetic arm and prosthetic, if I could spell, eye. Hope I spelled all that right. I was literally just looking at it. P-R-O-S-T-H-E-T-I. Yeah, I got it right. Okay. So, you start off with those. Now, they don't upgrade your skills in any way, but they are already there. They're already prosthetics, which means that if you want to upgrade later, it's literally plug and play at this point. And JP says Borg would make a good pilot, a good pilot if they can just plug into the computer. They cannot just plug into the computer as normal. However, Borg do regenerate, and a data jack is something that we could do. So, data jacks. This cybernetic includes a programmable data port that allows you to access different types of computers and digital storage media. Any handheld computer can be inserted directly into the port, while larger systems need to be connected by an adapter cable. Having the system connected directly to your nervous system obviates the need for an interface to access data. Actually operating the system requires that you use a computer skill, as usual. Some closed systems don't allow data access or require you to do some rewiring to connect with the data jack, usually an engineering check. Advanced data jacks make it easier to process send information, but all in all, it's the same. So I'm inclined to let a Borg have a data jack. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do this. Data jack. Standard. Right? Yeah. Now, Unfortunately, because this is a template and we're already applying it to your character, that means that this is going to require a level adjustment. This is the part that nobody likes. Very cyberpunk, yes. And you can definitely use Starjammer to play a cyberpunk game, but I don't know why you would when you can just go play Shadowrun. Okay, anyway, because this is being applied to a character, it's going to have a level adjustment, which means for the ability score adjustment alone, that's probably a +1 level. Okay? The limited telepathy with Borg, I'm not going to count because it is so very niche and situational. However, the nanite upgrade, prosthetics, these prosthetics are probably not actually that big a deal because they don't actually improve anything. The data jack, however, does. The data jack gives you the ability to interface directly with a computer, and so it counts. Same thing with the nanite upgrades. That is some serious tech. So between this, the nanite upgrade, and the data jack, I'm probably going to call this a +2 level adjustment. Yeah, I like that. That's going to be a +2 level adjustment. So, level +2. Now, what that means, because I have to explain this every time I do this with my players, what this means is that when you take this template and apply it to your character, it means that your character essentially counts as this many levels higher. Prosthetics have no armor bonus to them. No. They function the same way as your other limbs. They take the same damage as your other limbs. They can be blown off just like any of your other limbs. Fortunately, that doesn't usually happen. But what this means is that when you apply the Liberated Borg template to your character, your level 1 character now counts as a level 3 character. Generally speaking, this means that you can actually start off the game without having a class. And when you get enough experience points to level up to level 2, you still will not get a class. When you get to level 3, you still will not get a class. You will, of course, get feats and skill points along the way. And when you get to level 4, now you will get your very first class level, along with all the benefits that came with it. At level 4, you'll also get, an additional ability point to spend. But you will always be roughly 2 levels behind the rest of the party. That sounds kind of rough, but you also have to remember that you have a lot of skills that they're not going to have. Oh, and one more thing that needs to be added to this. Your Liberated Borg cannot be an android. Very important. A Borg must be cybernetic, which means there must be a living race underneath it. So it cannot be an android. That means you cannot do things like double up on the nanite upgrade. So, I like the look of that though. I think that's a pretty good looking Borg. Now you're a Liberated Borg, of course, so you still have free reign, you have free will, you can do whatever you want. But I think that's looking pretty good right there. No, you actually cannot computerize your computer. It's already computerized enough already. All right, there we go. That's everything. I think this looks good. This is going to be a good start for a Star Trek campaign in Starjammer. There's still a lot more work to do. There's still a lot more races to be put together. And we still have to go through. We need to do things like starships because we'll need to adapt that. I've already thought a little bit about it. A lot of the starship stuff can be used as is, just with name changes. Obviously, Federation starships don't have power cores. They have warp cores. So, I mean, that works. Specifically, actually, if I remember my Starfleet ship design, they wouldn't have a hyperspace engine. Because, as I remember it, the warp core is really only responsible for warp. And there are other reactors on the ship that provide power to the rest of the vessel. So when we look at things like the ships, thrusters will be impulse, of course. Power core will probably just be like a fusion reactor or something. Hyperspace engines will be a warp core. Computers are computers though, armor is armor. The frames, none of this has to change. We just have to make it look Federation-y. The expansion bays can be the same as well. Defensive countermeasures can be the same as well. Most of this stuff will not change at all. The weapons, however, will have to be either completely reflavored or they will have to be completely remade from scratch. But I'm not going to get into transwarp. Because warp drive is messy enough already. And adding transwarp is just going to be an entire can of nuts I don't want to get into. See, here's the thing. In Starjammer, when you go to hyperspace, you have these engine ratings. So they let you travel to and from hyperspace. The better the engine rating, the faster you can reach distant destinations. They have a PC requirement, obviously. Maximum size, obviously. Build points and everything else. They're limited on max size. So like these Signal Ultras, the largest ship you can put it on is a medium ship. If we come back up here to the top, a medium ship, we're talking explorer vessels and transports. Okay? You cannot put a hyperdrive that fast on something like a destroyer. Just won't do it. According to the Pathfinder rules, anyway. Now, obviously, a big problem is going to be the hyperspace engine. Where was it? I don't remember now. Crew quarters. Here, let's just do this. Hyperspace engines. There we go. So, this gives us engine ratings. What I think I'll have to do is completely scrap this and put in just a warp core, and instead of having engine ratings, we'll have warp factors. And the warp factors will require a minimum amount of energy that will be multiplied by the size of the ship. Kind of like the build points are. So a warp factor of 1 would just be base energy times 1. Well, you know, times 1 times the size of your ship. And then warp factor 2 would be the energy times 2 times the size of your ship. And so on and so forth all the way up to warp 9. Which means that the energy could be really outrageously expensive and you might find yourself never breaking warp 3. I'm just saying. I'll have to develop an entirely new system for the warp cores as well, so you can upgrade warp cores that can actually handle that. So maybe a series of 9 different warp cores for 9 different, warp factors. It's going to be complicated. We're going to be here a long time on it, which is why we're not doing it today. But it should be pretty easy to adapt. Everything else should be really easy to adapt as well. But it should be fun. I'm enjoying this. I was waiting all week for this. It did not disappoint. Even if this is like my lesser favorite part of doing this. I like the big ships, less the races. But we've been doing this for 3 hours and 15 minutes, so I think everyone is up for a break, right? You're all tired of this, aren't you? You're all tired of me, aren't you? Okay, you can lie and say you're not tired of this, but I know better. I know you're tired of me. I'm tired of me. I have to be with me all the time. So, we're going to leave off here. And when we come back next week, like I said, we'll either do more races or we'll do ships. And after we do ships, maybe we'll do a map generator. Actually, there is an actual map of the Star Trek galaxy. Perhaps I should work out a way to use it. I don't know. We'll figure it out next time. But yeah, I'm going to take that break now. So, if you've enjoyed this, if you thought this was fun, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you get notified of every video that comes out and every live stream that goes out. Since, I'm definitely not stopping this now. This is too much fun. I'm liking these live streams. If you think that somebody else also might enjoy this, either because they love Star Trek or they love tabletop games, share this video with them. Even if they didn't ask for it. Especially if they didn't ask for it. Give it to them anyway. The worst they can do is get mad at you, not me. Then come back, leave a like, leave a comment down below, especially if you have anything you'd like to see me do here. Are there particular races you want to see? Are there particular ships you'd like to see converted? If there's something else you want me to cover for this module, put it in the comments below so that I can come back and reference it and we can get started on that. That aside though, I think I'm out of here. So, it's been fun. I enjoyed doing this. I can't wait for next week. And until that time runs around, take care.